Hi, I'm Kim with English for Life Academy, and I'm here with Rebecca today. Rebecca took our TESOL certificate course in 2008, 10, 11? I don't even remember.
I think it was 2012.
2012. It's now 2014, so we're so glad to have her with us to tell us a little bit about what she's been doing since then. So, tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, my name is Rebecca. Right now I teach at ELS, and it's an intensive language school mostly for students who are trying to go into universities. We have a special relationship with Clemson, so it's more for academic purposes. We do have general English students, but it is very intense. But it's nice because it keeps you on your toes. There's never a dull moment. And you get to meet a lot of students from all over the world. So, yeah.
Sounds good. So were you teaching English before you got your TESOL certificate, or was this a new career move for you?
I had dabbled in it before. I was an English Lit major in college, and I tutored American college students and international students in English grammar and writing. And then my mother's originally from Brazil, so as a graduation present, they bought me a plane ticket to Brazil after I graduated from college. And while I was there, I started helping another teacher with a business English class that was mostly conversational. And then I also started volunteering at a school. I was taking college classes in Portuguese, but then they had a program after school for underprivileged children and trying to give them an extra boost in education, so teaching them English, Portuguese, and computer skills. Two completely different things, business English and then English for children that may not even know how to read and write in their own language. So it was pretty wild, but I discovered that I liked it and that it came naturally, and started wondering maybe I should pursue this, because I always knew I loved languages and I'd been exposed to a different culture my whole life since I was born. So it kind of pushed me in that direction once I came back.
So do you think that growing up biculturally and with two languages has helped you as an English teacher?
Yes. It helps me to understand from their perspective, and also learning a third language helped too, because you think you're good at languages when you're bilingual until you start trying to learn other ones, and then you're like, wow, this is hard. But yes, being bicultural has helped just in sparking my interest. I remember in elementary school doing a presentation on my most recent trip to Brazil and telling the students, and they were just not as excited as I was about the differences in culture, and I realized this is not normal. Not everyone has this experience. So it sparked my interest, and then, of course, speaking two languages gets you interested in language and the differences between it and the nuances. So I've really enjoyed that. And then, of course, learning a third language helps, because when I was learning Italian, I had that experience of living overseas and having to navigate a new world, and learning to not speak English with my friends all the times in order to learn. And so my students seem to appreciate that I've had that experience, and it seems to kind of open them up a little bit. They go, oh, she kind of gets where I'm coming from. So they seem to be more open when they know that too.
Is there any advice you give your students who might be learning their second language from your own experience in language learning? Because I know my students always ask me, why is it so hard? I don't know how to do this. Can you help me? Give me some ideas.
Yes. Be patient. A lot of them get so frustrated because, I mean, a lot of our students are going to get masters and PhDs afterwards. They're brilliant. They're way smarter than I am. They're, I don't know, PhD in math or engineering, or they're going to be some sort of doctor or something. And they're so frustrated when they get here and they can't express even very simple things. And I tell them it's kind of like you're growing up all over again. You have to accept that you're a child in this language and you're growing up gradually. And another thing I tell them is to be okay with making mistakes. And the Italians told me the same thing. They said, si impara sbagliando. You learn by making mistakes. That the ones who are perfectionistic, like, I am. I just say relax and make the mistakes, but then learn from them. And I also tell them to get away from people that are from their country. You need some support, but I remember when I was in Italy that living with a host family, my Italian was dramatically different, and so were my other friends who were in host families than people who were, the Americans are all living together in the dorm. Our life also had a lot less drama too. And also I committed with another American friend. We're just going to speak Italian with each other, and it was awkward at first, but by the end some of the Italians thought we were Italian. We're like, cool. So that skill of circumlocution, learning to talk around a word and explain it instead of just going back and forth, is another big thing I tell my students, to really give themselves a chance to work through it and fight through it so that they kind of stay on that new track that they're building in their mind instead of just switching back and forth. Yeah.
Well, your students are very lucky to have you with that experience so that you can share that with them.
And I'm lucky to have them. They teach me a lot too.
I'm sure, yeah. What advice would you give to people that want to teach English overseas or want to step into this profession for the first time? Maybe they haven't taught before, or maybe they don't have experience overseas. Do you have any advice for folks that are thinking about doing that but aren't quite sure yet?
Yes. What I would do first before you make a decision is to get involved with internationals in your community. So there are plenty of opportunities to do that at ELS, at other schools in the area. You can become a conversation partner and meet with a student every week and help them with what they're learning, not necessarily tutoring, but just helping them talk. And there's homestay opportunities. There's so many different things. It kind of tells you if you enjoy that kind of exchange or if you're more interested in something else.
I always tell people when they ask me, just go and sit in on a class. Just go and observe one English class in town, and you're going to know right away. You're either going to think, oh, this is the coolest thing I can imagine doing with my life, or you're going to think, wow, that looks hard and intimidating, and I don't want anything to do with it. So
yeah, and that would probably work for most people. I probably would have been intimidated at first because even though I love the interaction between different cultures, I didn't know how I would be as a teacher until I just got up there and did it.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Sure,
and
thank you for inviting me.
We'll check back in a couple of years and see where you are.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.